Hello, everyone, and welcome to another horrific review. That's a good start. Welcome to another horrific review. God, do you know what it is? It's been a minute since I've streamed. It feels like an absolute age. Last week, mega busy, didn't have time to do much. Busy over the weekend, and this week started off a few things. Also, I'm doing stuff on other channels. Links will be appearing soon. Yesterday had a really good session zero. I'm going to be taking part in a Call of Cthulhu game, Tatters of the King. I'm going on the Brotherhood of the Dice channel tomorrow night. There'll be a post scheduled appearing just before we go live, so check that out. It's going to be on Twitch. So needless to say, I've forgotten how to stream. There you go. It only takes a week and you're like, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, I thought I'd pick a movie, and who doesn't like a good old Nazi ghost story? I tell you what, there's some over the time, like there's been some brilliant movies set in that sort of genre. I don't know if it's a genre, but using that setting, like from the earliest Death's Ship, The Outpost, Blood Vessel, really cool. And this one, pretty much the same vein. There's something, I don't know, it's bad enough seeing a Nazi in full uniform, in the reality of what them bastards were about and what they did. But a zombie or a ghost Nazi just adds, to the nth degree. Oh, hey, Chris. Yeah, tomorrow. I've scheduled a post I think it's going to pop up at 8 p.m. UK time on social medias, because there's no point posting it now, because then people forget. So I'll get it to pop up close to the time, and then the link and all will be there, all that good stuff. Yeah, it's good to get involved. It's nice to actually be a player. It gives you a break from running the game and all the pressure with it, and being on somebody else's channel. You're just like, "Ugh, let you do all the work, and I'll just sit here and enjoy myself." You know how it is. Sure, people feel the same when they come on here. It's like, let him worry about getting all the streaming and pressing the buttons, and we'll just turn up. But yeah, just saw this pop up. It was in 2022. It was made quite recent, and thought, yeah, let's check it out. Two things I'll make you aware of watching this movie before you begin, because it might take you out of it. But first of all, the intro and outro music, they're using that kind of 80s synth type stuff, and it doesn't fit with the story at all. So you could be listening to that music and into it thinking it's going to be something, and it's completely different. Secondly, it's in French, so make sure your subtitles are on. I wasn't actually expecting that, because it doesn't. It's funny when you check like the descriptions, it'll just doesn't say French with subtitles, or in the language, which I don't mind. I like foreign language movies. I grew up, obviously, I've talked about this before. Hong Kong, kung fu theater, can't beat it. Best cheesiest genre of all time. I should really start a separate channel and talk about those type of movies. Um, actually need to. There are a few horror movies in that genre. I'll have to hook them out and start including them on the channel. But it's flip it. I'm so busy, and it's enough trouble getting through the stuff I'm getting through. Uh, without getting a minute to start looking for things, it's weird. But anyway, yeah. So, start speaking in French. I missed the first couple of lines, clicked on the subtitles, but it's the intro. This is really sort of grounded. It's grounded, gritty horror. It takes a minute, like it's a slow burner in terms of bringing the characters together and how they end up where they end up. But in this case, I think it was worth it. Do you know why some movies they just rush, and they rush to put them in a situation, and then like a slasher sort of affair, that you're like, oh, right, okay, and you don't really get any context. This movie's not like that, and actually, I'm glad of it because it gave me a chance to get to know the characters, form a bit of a bond with them before all the gnarly stuff happens. It's a horror movie. I'm not spoiling anything. We know it's things aren't going to go well for people in a horror movie. That's just the way it works. But yeah, we've got three friends: Sonia, Henry, and Max. Henry is about to do his national service because this is set in France, which I believe they still have national service. Now, the weird thing choice they made was they set this in the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. So we'll have a cutscene of young lad, and it's set in the French catacombs. And if you ever look up the French catacombs, in fact, as above, so below, the film I covered with Dale explores pretty much the same region. So in Paris, there's all these underground, crypts, tombs, tunnel networks, and they're actually layered. So even the underground, the metro, is like a layer in between various tunnels. And that very interesting, uh, and it's a good setting for a horror movie. You can't even without any supernatural beings or killers or anything else. The claustrophobia, and actually one thing they really play in this is actually the claustrophobia and the inherent danger of just going. Look up urban explorers. These are folks that go and check out abandoned tunnels and cities and uh, disused sewer systems and factories and stuff. Quite interesting stuff. And it's not dissimilar to going caving, Pillagat, and the dangers that are involved in that. So even though it's in a city setting, you have to prepare as if you're basically in the wilderness, the hills. For those that have done that, understand that you just don't stick on your best tracksuit and go for a hike up the hills. You have to prepare and have kit and a safety plan, and you have to leave a route card behind with someone. What, and I'm not too familiar with what the law, how much of this is true or dramatized for the film, but a lot of these tunnels apparently are legal to go into. Now, we touched that in the last movie as well, As Above, So Below, that more likely for safety reasons, parts of these sections are actually out of bounds and you get fined or arrested for trying to go into them, which is fair enough. They do a really good thing with this when the metro goes past and, causes vibrations, so there's unstable parts. That in itself is enough. Like I said, it's enough of a movie. But the premise is, right, we see this young lad, he's down, he's tagging, he's doing graffiti artist down one of these tunnels, and then something gets him, it's all done off camera, that kind of stuff. Encounter something. Then it skips forward about 3 or 4 years, and then we meet the main characters. Where will go with this? Yeah, so it's setting up a scene where everyone's going to end up. But what I liked about this is it takes its time getting there. So it's not like, oh, right, straight away, we're going straight in. Three characters really have no relation to the initial events. And then we find out the link later on. But what it is, Max is, like I said, Henry's going to the army. Max is like a nerdy type. But they're three friends, and Sonia, the three of them, like they're best buddies through school and college, that type of stuff. Effectively, they're giving him a send off before he goes off. This is like his last weekend before he. Oh my god! I do apologize. The strains of going on a stream again when you take a few days off, getting the way. Yeah, so they're basically giving a send off before he reports for duty on like the Monday. So that's cool, right? Having a few beers. Sonia meets her friend slash drug dealer, Remy, to hop the night up. And then he she wanted to take him somewhere, illicit or whatever, just to blow off steam. And he said, actually, I have something better if you meet me tomorrow afternoon. So it's already setting it up, but logical. He's like, nah, tonight, stuff happening. Tomorrow afternoon, I'll take an adventure you'll never forget. So they're straight away will have the whole setup, the why the people are getting together, why they're going to go down to the catacombs. And that's basically what it is. They meet the party. And the interesting thing was, and I didn't know if it was going to pay off, but we see a group of neo-Nazis in the bar. And they kind of spy the group. And you think something's going to happen that night, but it doesn't. So they kind of sort of follow them, but then they don't. They disappear again. And you kind of think that's it. Sonia has a dream about them. As if they're breaking into the apartment, and you're not too sure if that was part of it. But it was, yeah, it worked. It was relevant. It was kind of foreshadowing for later on. And it's interesting bringing neo-Nazis when this is a thing about actual, original, what would you put it? Original Nazis? The first Nazis? What a subject to be talking about. God. Anyway, yeah. So that dream happens. She wakes up, then goes back. Nothing happens. Next day, middle of daylight, they meet up with Remy. He starts taking them down the tunnels. And then they're sort of going through the first level. And then it's discovered that there's this is in translation, but I think it probably cataphiles, apparently they're called, lovers of the catacombs. There's a whole group who just love this sort of stuff. I don't know if it exists in reality. Probably does. I mean, there's always something out there, but you would think they were homeless people at the start, but then you realize that they're a wee bit more organized as you come down. The thing that got me, and this is something that's I know I'm going off my first tangent of the stream, but to get to the catacombs, the start of it, they're going through an abandoned railway, and what we'll have are busy end of the line tracks and trains. Now, this is a wee thing that's been sort of taken away my brain for a while. There's absolutely no shortage of abandoned, they're perfectly serviceable rail cars, and they just get abandoned. Now, I've seen people that convert buses into homes, mobile homes and stuff. I've seen people actually, what was this guy got about 50 buses and he made like an underground bunker, by welding them all together. Why has nobody done this with a railway site? Stretch a track, cars, do a few more modifications. There's cheap, livable homes. I mean, the prefab's all done. It's similar to caravans or what do you call them in America? Trailers. People live them worse. And I would imagine one car fitted out properly would be quite spacious. And the tracks would give it a good founding, and then you've got it elevated up. You could build in front of it with a patio deck and all that good stuff. Why has that never been done? Like, people live in narrow, like not well, parts of London, but London's super expensive. But people live in narrow boats, and they're all tied up, along the quay. I would imagine a train, like a disused train carriage, fitted out. And don't forget, a lot of them do have, facilities built in, toilets. And it wouldn't be too much of a stretch to put in a shower unit. Why has that not happened? Like, you think of if you had to stretch it, like reclaiming urban zones, disused land, lay out the sleepers as the foundation, weld the wheels so they don't move anywhere. And in fact, there you go. You have all the underbelly to plumb in everything you need. Ideal. There's cheap, affordable housing. Don't know, just a thought. Because I've always like worked in the railway and stuff, and I've was a wee bit of a woo when I was a kid, bit of a train nerd. One thing I love about the railway is it doesn't impose on the landscape the same way as motorways do. Just maybe the initial building a railway, but for some reason when a railway is built, it fits in better with the land. So I would imagine the same thing would apply because these things lie for. In fact, there's one I used to pass when I was working on railways, and they just left it there. I mean, I'd been there for about 15, 20 years, no carriage, and a bit of rusty outside, but it was perfect. I mean, pristine. It's stainless steel, at the end of the day, and aluminium. So why not? But anyway, tangent over, back to the story, because they went through the railway to get into the catacombs. Sorry, folks, I'm back. I'm getting on with the super tangents now because it's been so long. But yeah, they start off in the catacombs. They start going through. The first bit is they have to crawl through a tunnel to get into the next level down. I tell you what, the way they did the camera work with them crawling through the tunnels, I was feeling it. I was feeling a bit claustrophobic watching it. Barbecue ranch flavored Nazis. Well, barbecue Nazis are the best. Or did the barbecue them in Glorious Bastards? That's one thing. The only good, and somebody's got to clip this and take it out of context, but the only good thing the Nazis have given to the world is you have a villain in movies that can do anything to, and nobody gives a toss. Talking of which, I want to watch Sisu. That looks mental, but obviously it's not a horror movie, so it'll not appear on this channel. But I actually want to check that out. I saw the trailer for that, and I'm like, that's the sort of almost Quentin Tarantino-esque madness that I'll let you see. But yeah, here we go. I'm gonna get in trouble. Nazis are great because you can do anything you want to in the movies, and nobody cares, and it's wonderful in a way. That's me. It was nice knowing you all. Channel over. That's me cancelled. See you later. God, I don't need anybody to get me into trouble. I can do it myself. Yeah. But anyway, back to the story. Second tangent. Out of the way. God, not even 20 minutes in. So the whole claustrophobia, going through the tunnel and getting into that, but it was really done well on camera. I didn't get the hint of any CGI in this. I think this is all done with practical effects. And if so, hats off to these guys because they made a good movie. I don't like horror movies that look too clean, if that makes sense. When something looks too clean and polished, you don't get the sort of grittiness. So dust and dirt and, rusted things about, it just gives that kind of vibe, and they do it really well with this. So you know why sometimes they do underground tunnels and they just look so clean and pristine, and you can't suspend disbelief. You can't get into it. This doesn't do that until a certain part, and then the stark contrast actually provides the horror because it makes you go, "Oh, this is too clean. This is used. This is current. This should be abandoned, but it looks almost hospital sterile type. Oh dear, that's what it does. So actually using grit and dirt, and then the cleanliness the two contrasts actually triggers your senses, that you're like, oh, something's changed here. Gotta watch out. But it starts off all nice, they go down in the catacombs, and then it's into the like second layer. It's a thing called the cathedral. But what it is basically, it's like one of the original the foundations of Paris. And apparently it was a place where the rock, the original rock of Paris was, can't remember the exact phrasing. It wasn't mined out, but it was the original rocks that Paris was built on. Was stood in this think of the mines of Moria and Lord of the Rings, and that sort of cavern and built underground, almost dwarven. It was that well done. So we've got that beautiful scene. So you're lilting along, and you've almost forgotten the very first scene, the opening scene of this. And I think that's what the movie does. You're lulled in this false sense of security of, oh, everything's fantastic. And it's good. I mean, any horror fan knows it's not going to stay like that, but it does well. You get this little comforting blanket of, oh, everything's amazing. Then they go down and do another set of tunnels, and there's this place called the White Zone. And what it is, these guys, the cataphiles, they've mapped all the tunnels, legal and illegal, but there's this area called the White Zone, which basically, wasteland. It's all mapped. Nobody's been there. People can't find a way in, and that's the whole thing. It's uncharted territory, and that's cool because that harkens back to, if you think of the first sailors, the first explorers. It's bringing that into a modern context. There's still areas to explore. There's still untapped areas. There's still place for the imagination to roam, for humanity to wonder. That's what makes humanity what humanity is. It's that wonderness of what's out there. No other creature on this planet goes, oh, I wonder what's over that hill. I haven't been there, or I wonder what's beyond the stars. That they don't. We, whether it be whatever you believe in, be a chemical imbalance, a disconnect in the wires, a spiritual thing, we're just built that way, that we're always wondering if, oh, and that's where, the imagination comes in, for good or ill, yeah, it's cool. So we're tapping on this too in this movie, which, once again, it's done really well. Like, I enjoyed this movie, and it's not trying to be anything. I'm not saying it's a life-changing experience, but just, it's nice sometimes to get just an enjoyable movie that isn't trying to be pretentious and is just telling the story. And you've got good character acting, which low, undertoned, low key character acting. Now, the kind of teetered the sort of on the brink with Sonia. They were making her a girl boss, that kind of thing, but the thankfully dialed it back a bit, because she's confident in that, and then there was no like antagonism, just her personality. They could have made her a girl boss, but they had the sense to dial her back enough that when certain situations happened, she reacted as, someone of her build and size and not being a combat person, would. Which I really liked, appreciated her character. And she wasn't trying to outdo the other two. The other two weren't trying to outdo her. It wasn't a case of, oh, we're the bosses. It's just a group of people. So it turns out that they're down on a tunnel, and all of a sudden there's like torches in their faces. And it does say torch in the translation. It doesn't say flashlight. It says torches. Go, meh. There you go. The proper word for the handheld illuminated lighting device. So I win. I win the internet. Yeah, and they're playing a joke, trying to pretend they're the police. It was a good scene, and then it turns out that, there's another bit, and that's where they all meet in the party, and it's like a community thing, and then they're welcoming them into the fold sort of thing. And that's cool. These three then carry on because Raimi wants to show them other parts because he promised them an experience. And then that's where things start to turn. Because lo and behold, the neo Nazis that we saw at the beginning at the bar scene appear again. They're apparently they just go through the tunnels. That I don't get. I get if you're going to the tunnels, the hangout zone, like the cataphiles folks did. I mean, they've got a whole hangout zone. They've got candles, got music playing. They're stocked up with beer. What I don't get is just mindlessly wandering through tunnels, thinking it's a bit of fun. I don't know. It's the same as I couldn't get my head around the street corner thing. Obviously a lot of my mates growing up on would drink around street corners, and I'm like, nah. I'd rather have beer in the house, thanks. Or it gets that uncomfortable. I didn't see the point of doing it, but then again, my family brought me up that you be sensible, you can enjoy a beer, don't have to sneak it. What they always said to me was, don't get absolutely paralytic and put yourself in danger. Always know where you are, know who you're with, and always remember, come home. Or if you can't come home, ring, and someone will go and get you. That was, and that stood me well, I think. So the people that wandered the streets were like aliens to me, or hung around entries and stuff, and it just, these, God, what was there? There's four of them. These four neo-Nazis just wandering for the sake of it. Just, I don't get it. But it's not completely abnormal behavior for, you know, thugs or people that have not much going on. So they encounter this up, run away, and of course they see people and then start, start beating them up. And Sonia's got a bit of a suntan, so of course they're like, "Oh, you're don't belong here" and all that stuff. Usual. I don't think. No, they're Henry and Max is normal complexion, really fine, but they just don't like. I mean, they're not. These are like your typical 80s skinhead types. Um, yeah, they do all the shit, and then it turns out Raimi had a gun, pistol in his backpack. Sonia clocked, because he had it slightly unzipped, so she clocked up there. She pulls the gun out, and once again, this is where they managed the balance because it was teetering a bit too much in the girl boss direction. But when she picked up the gun and she's waving about, and she's never fired, so she's terrified, and her acting, so showing vulnerability with that makes you think, oh, right, cool. This is something she hasn't done before. She's acting as if, and instead of doing backflips and pew 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 and stuff, acting like a normal person. I mean, these are young people. They're not hardened criminals. They're not combat. I mean, Henry's going to do his national service, so he's never been in there. I mean, he's about to go into basic, so he's a sprog. He hasn't got a clue. It's not like he's a hardened veteran with a fucking 90 combat tours under his belt. It's not that sort of stuff. They're ordinary young folk. So the reaction, and these are thugs who are I mean, their lives are dedicated to violence. So it's not a fair pairing, if that makes sense. They're always going to come off short. So the fact that she's up and then it turns out, I can't remember what to call it. It's an old 10 shooter or something. It's not I don't think it's a 2-2, but essentially it's an advanced pellet gun. It's not like you put a round in someone and they're gone. It's she shot him, she blew off part of his ear, and that was really about it. It wasn't doing more damage than that. No, they spin it, but to get away, and then that's where they meet a dead end. No, they met the dead end. Then they come. That's why the whole thing happened. Then that's when they start trying to escape, so they'll go down deeper. And then this is where they end up in Bunker 717. And that's where I'm saying it changes from the gritty, dirty, disused tunnel to clean, clinical, what do you call them type of, like, tiled walls, um, and that's actually where the horror comes in of, oh, we're somewhere we shouldn't be. This place was built with purpose. Then they realize they're in the white zone, that the all map territory, and it's a German bunker, World War II bunker, and that's what it was. That's what the whole thing was. All mapped, it's just a flipping huge bunker built underground. You see the signs up in German and stuff, and the swastika logos and that. Yeah, and we've seen enough of these type of movies to know these sort of hidden facilities are not good places to be, and good stuff didn't happen down there. So that's what we start to see. The thing really brought this was booby trapped. So there's booby traps and stuff, and they're modern booby traps. There's grenades and tripwires and all sorts. Not going to the full thing. It's the whole thing. So this is not just abandoned booby trap. This is current, booby trap that you don't go in. Then deeper into the facility, I left out a part. Lamia, we met this other character because we met some of they were kind of bit part characters anyway, all the rest of the cataphiles, but there's one, Lamia, who was the brother of the first guy that we saw in the opening scene. She comes down because they kind of bump into each other and come back. I mean, it gets a wee bit confusing, but then again, it works because they're running around catacombs and people are doing different things, and these chased by the thugs, so they end up crossing each other's paths. She's looking for her brother. They go down to this part, and then we find the tagging that we saw in the first part, and then we realize this is where the brother was. So we know instantly that this place is not good. This is where something gnarly happened. They're right in the middle of it. There's booby traps. Lamia won't listen, runs off. So yeah, you can figure out what happens to her. We'll see it, and I tell you what, though, the practical effects for this, I'm not too sure what the budget for this movie is, but if this is a reasonable budget movie, God, no, I'm not seeing it. If this is less than $1 million or just a couple of 100,000, it's bloody well done. The special effects in this would be envious of some modern movies, because especially with CGI crap and digital blood and stuff, looks awful. But we start seeing things go wrong. Then the group encounters the big bad. I don't want to go into how each person. I don't want to spoil it because I think you should watch this movie. It's worth it, and I don't want to spoil the horror. The plot aspect, because it would ruin it for you, and you'll lose the effect which I had watching this. And it's not often I get a whoa, but there's a few of those in it, and I don't want to go through it here. Watch it and see, and obviously let me know if you sort of got certain parts where you were like that, I think it's not so much that you weren't expecting it to happen, it's just the pacing and the suddenness and the way it was done. This is really tight. It's actually really tightly written and acted. I'm actually impressed. The more I'm thinking about this movie, I'm impressed by it. I wasn't expecting it to be. I was expecting it to be a throwaway movie, if I'm honest. I was expecting it just to be meh. Watch some horror shiny stuff just to get a stream done. No, this is a pretty good movie. Yeah, we'll see the big bad. I'll not go into obviously it's, and I mean he's on the flipping cover anyway. It's him. We'll find out as usual. It's a bunker. Experiments have been going on. And then we're seeing the results of those experiments that don't explain what the experiments were, but we know it's not good, and we know it's partially science fiction, partially supernatural, which brings into the whole aspect of towards the end of the Second World War when the Nazis were legit trying to come up with sci-fi stuff, and they're actually legit trying to find supernatural occult methods to win the war. Like these people were definitely tapped in the head. And it's like the brought all the mad scientists and occultists of the day. Come on in, lads. You can here's money, here's resources, crack on, do what you want. I don't think in the history of humankind will ever get to the bottom of that madness. Because it's the only way to describe what happened there. It's like, let's bring the worst people of society together, give them power, purpose, and fill them for the hate. And look what happens. Yeah. And that's brought the bear here, and we see it. God, Wolfenstein, there's a blast from the past. I'll need to find. I think there's emulators out there. I'll need to find out and maybe do a gaming session. It's been ages. But yeah, there's quite a few of these sort of movies. I might try and do a wee feature. Definitely, I should bring up a post again. That's a real gritty one. I think that's the grittiest sort of Nazi-esque horror movie I've ever watched. Just the way the soldiers, the actual Nazi soldiers acted, like with proper hatred. Where you've got the likes of Red Snow, and that's just farcical. But this kind of straddles. No, it doesn't. It's closer to the Outpost, I think. No, it's not Red Snow. It's closer to the Outpost. I wouldn't be fair to this. It's a drama that descends into a horror. I think that's the best way to describe this movie. Yeah, it's definitely a drama. It's friendships. It's moving on. It's obligations. It's exploration, and then it becomes a straight out horror movie. Yeah, and that's going to be my review. I'm not going to go into how it all pans out because you really got to watch this. The more thing about yeah, you got to check it out. Really enjoyed this movie. Surprised myself now, even giving the review, how much I did. And it wasn't even the answers not being fully resolved of what happened. I don't mind because we know mad bonkers stuff was happening anyway during that period, and it's legit possible this is based on actual experiments that happened. So there you go. Sorry again that it's been a while since I've done a stream. Nearly a week or so, I think, since the last one. But we've got more stuff coming up anyway. I'm going to schedule streams anyway. We've got talks about the end of this month. I've got an author coming on as well next couple of weeks, and I'm going to be guesting on some channels this month. So I'm on Brotherhood of the Dice tomorrow. I'm going to be in Eric Kavanagh's. Where are we doing it? The 25th. Going to be on his channel. Obviously, I'll share the links and stuff when I get them. We're going to be reviewing a movie, and then we'll see from there. And there you go. So if you watch this movie, let me know what you think. Links in the description. Check it out. If you've already seen it, do you agree with what I've said? Do you get the same takeaway from me on it? Be interested to know. And as usual, thanks Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for taking part. Keep up to date with the channel. Do the type of clicky things. And until next time, keep it creepy, keep it horrific.